Hey guys, I didn't want to keep you waiting any longer. My apologies. It's just I thought I'd start the show, at least maybe get the camera going. You guys can see something while you wait for me. Ugh, my apologies. Me and Christian, that's my wife, the one in the green. For a lot of you guys are always asking, oh, who are the ladies in the videos? Um, the one in the green is my wife, and that is her cousin. And yes, she's happily married, guys. But anywho's, hey, welcome back, guys. How's it going? And let's get to it. Shout out to everyone out there that made it on time, because we all know that I did not make it on time. I was late, very late today.
Bruh.
But that's because me and Christian were at an appointment earlier today. We were taking care of some stuff, and we just got back home a little while ago. And well, I got to set this whole thing up and yada yada yada. But anyways, next week, there's going to be a lot of action going on in the Jose household. So yeah, pardon if maybe there might be a little whatchamacallit, like hiccups when it comes to uploading, not uploading. We should have videos as usual, but just in case you don't see me around for a few days, it's because we're doing some stuff, okay? And we'll be more than happy to share everything with you as it develops. All right, guys. So I just want to keep you guys a little bit in suspense. You know me, I like to mess with you guys sometimes, have some fun, right? So we're all about here. We're all about having fun, enjoying life, and living life. And today we're talking about, is Mexico getting too expensive? I hear about this, all the time. People complain about this all the time, talk about it all the time. And, well, I just figured, hey, why not talk about it? I mean, at least for me, as I've already hinted to in a few videos that I've uploaded recently, we're going to be moving soon. And so with that being said, well, yeah, of course, things are getting expensive for everybody. But does that mean that the quality of life has decreased? Oh, no, by no stretch of the imagination. Sure, things have gotten a little bit more expensive, but the quality of life has just gotten better, all around. And not just for me, for the typical Mexican as well. We were literally, again, we were in appointments earlier today. That's why I was a little late. And just talking to a lady there that was also waiting at the appointment. Hold on a second. That was also waiting at the appointment. She was like, talking to us, and we asked her, hey, what do you do for a living? And she's like, oh, I'm a cleaning lady, yada, yada, yada. And, she makes us, like almost like a little over $1,000 a month. So basically she makes what I make. I'm like, all right, damn. And then she was talking about like, I think like friends and family of hers. She was mainly talking to Christian. I was on the phone doing work stuff. But I was overhearing things, and she was just saying that, like recently a friend, she was having trouble at a job, just a regular job. The boss was being a jerk, and she was saying, hey, why don't you just go to work at Walmart or go work at Home Depot or one of these places? They're paying really good. They pay 3,500 or so a week. So 3,500 pesos a week translates to again 3,500 times 4. That's 14,000 pesos. Plus, she said that they get like an extra 800 peso stipend every month. So let's just round it around to 15,000 pesos. Hey, that's like 750 bucks, okay? 750 bucks just to work a regular minimum wage, low rung job. Again, Walmart. I mean, come on. What kind of job, are you expecting, at Walmart? You know what I mean? Again, no offense to whatever, but that's like minimum wage. So I'm thinking, wow, so that's what like minimum wage is getting paid. That's like 750 bucks, which is me on a bad month. Okay, me on a bad month. By the way, let me know if the music is a little too loud. I want to give a shout out to everyone out there. My apologies. I know I came in hot today. I came in, guns ablazing. I didn't even say hi to you guys. Anyways, hello to EU, Toyhead, Cecil. We got Michael. We got Antonio. We got Cinnabon. Isai, and everyone else out there. No, I mean, I go for a walk all the time, but it's hard to live stream when I walk, at least to get like really good high quality like this. I mean, but anyways, if you guys watch my videos, you guys already know. I mean, it's almost like I'm live. Not quite, but anywho's, so Yeah, I mean that was like minimum wage, and as I've hinted to before, recently, especially over the holidays, we were hanging out with a lot of Mexicans, Christians, friends, colleagues, and so on and so forth. So, like, say, for example, we go to a Christmas party or a birthday party, right? Mm. And it might be, all the Christians' art friends. Well, not everyone's an artist there, like most people are married or have a partner. So it's like, hey, what do you do for a living? What do you this, whatever. I mean, not that that's what we talk about. I've hinted to that before, but it's, sometimes it does kind of whatever. It's just how do I say it? It's like hinted, like they're talking about blah blah blah, and it's like, oh yeah, because what I do is I look at the stars. Oh, okay, you're an astrologist. Oh yeah, okay, whatever. It just kind of comes loosely like that. And then when as it comes to like how much money they make, it's different than in the USA where people are a little bit more hidden of that. They'll openly freely talk about it. But a lot of times, it's not like they're just openly talking about it. So, as we're talking, they're just talking about their expenses or they're talking about certain other aspects. And I'm like, oh damn. Or they're saying, "Oh yeah, Robert, just recently got a job at so and so company, selling iron for fences, and he's making like around 3,000 US dollars a month." I'm like, oh damn, which is like 60,000 pesos. It's like, damn, really, for that job? So all I'm saying is that even at the most minimum low range, job, people are making like 750, $800 a month, which is me on a normal bad month, I want to say like a bad month, is like around that's what I would make, Walmart. And then, as you move up the rung, let's say that, you're working a little bit more of a specialized job, then you could be easily making 1,500, 2,000 a month or more. So this is what the Mexicans are making. Okay, so this is why now, for a lot of people out there, especially if you're coming out here on your retirement check and you definitely don't want to live, within your means, and you want to live in an environment like what you're looking at right now. It's a very nice place. Where you're looking at right now looks very, very nice. But rent in this area of Guadalajara, okay, because that's where we're walking right now. The rent in this area is probably going to be, in the low $1,000 range. Meaning $800, $1,000. For something small. If you want a house, it's going to be, close to the rent you're paying in the USA. And so, yeah, same in Merida, it's kind of similar, meaning, I mean, we're not similar. I mean, we're like I said, we're moving to a place and we're getting a 3 bedroom, 2.5 bathroom house, okay, which is like double the size of this house. Huge yard, backyard, front yard, brand new construction, the whole thing, the whole shebang, and it's only $600, 600 US dollars. So, it just depends on what neighborhood you want to live in as well. If I want to live in the north of Merida, if I want to live in an area that looks a lot more like this, then I'm going to be paying 1,200 for that same house, literally the same house. But I'm living in a very similar, close neighborhood to where I lived right now. Okay, it's just that I'm moving into a brand new gentrified home. Does that make sense? As opposed to living in an area that's completely gentrified already. And so that's the thing. And so like different parts of Mexico are going to have different prices, but all I'm saying is that, you can definitely find affordable housing, but for a lot of people, they cannot hang in what affordable housing is. I mean, look, I show you guys, where what some of the neighborhoods look like in Guadalajara, in Merida, and Oaxaca. When I've been there, I try to not just show you the nice neighborhoods. I try to show you like the real neighborhoods. I try to go as deep as I can, and I go deeper, and I go to the villages, and I go to the pueblos. And look, long story short, you can find definitely affordable housing out here, and that's going to be like your biggest expense, really. But anyways, you can definitely find affordable housing, but for a lot of people, they just don't want that. They want to live in nice housing, and they want to live in a nice neighborhood, and they want to have nice things, and again, look, I get it. We all want nice things. We all want to live in nice neighborhoods, and that's when things start getting expensive. So as I've mentioned before on the show many times when I talk about cost of living, when it came to rent, right now, again, we're moving to a new place, and we're going to be paying 600 around, again, the exchange rate. We're going to be paying around $600 a month now. So now that's a huge increase in rent because I was paying only $300 before that. Okay. And if I want, I can live for even cheaper, but then that would mean I would be in a, probably crappier neighborhood in a crappier house. Okay. And if I had to, we would do that. But I don't have to right now. Right now, hey, if I got to do a little bit more in order for me to afford a little bit nicer things, well, that's fine. It's totally okay. It's worth it now because now I got a thing, we got like a little bit more of a working thing going. And so therefore, yeah, I feel confident that there's not going to be a problem to be able to afford this house, going forward. Not just the house, but the same expenses. Again, at the end of the day, we're going to have some expenses, we didn't have before. Some expenses are going to remain the same, and so on and so forth. And we'll talk about that. We'll do that. Cinnabon says, do people do roommates? Yeah, in places like Mexico City, Guadalajara, certain areas like that, yes, they do roommates. But it's kind of like a rare thing in a place like Merida. In Merida, you'll find roommates, but it's usually like kids, in college, that kind of crap, that kind of stuff, nothing, out of the ordinary in that sense. But yeah, I mean, I've mentioned that before. I mean, you guys know. I mean, I've been making videos for a long time, and I've been here with you guys for a while now. And at the end of the day, a lot of people ask me, like, well, what do I do for a living? Well, this is what I do for a living. I make YouTube videos. I do one-on-one, personalized consultations with people. I sell T-shirts. I do all kinds of things here and there. And you're gonna see. We're gonna keep developing all this. Right now, I'm trying to develop another channel. In fact, two other channels. So real quick, I want to give a shout out to everyone out there in the audience. Look, we have. Sorry. You can go to my website. You can get all the links to everything. But yeah, long story short, we're gonna be reviving. We are reviving. We have revived. Where is it? Hold on a second. Oh, my apologies. I thought I had it all set up here. I think I closed the window. But anywho's, cooking con Jose. All right, cooking live with Jose, cooking with Jose. Anyway, so for some of you guys that remember, I had a cooking channel. All right, and I've been since I got on YouTube, almost 10 years ago. I've been doing, this is one of my first uploads right here. But I've been doing cooking videos and the like. Okay, but anyways, long story short, I've been uploading a bunch of oldies but goodies on the channel. So please go check it out. If you like the content, you like the channel, everything you're watching right now, and you want to help me out for free, okay? I'm not asking you for money. I'm not asking you for nothing. Please go over there. And if you like food, okay? If you like food, especially if you like me, you like food, go check out my other channel. Okay, let me put the link for you guys so you guys can go subscribe, and I will love you guys to death, man. And anyways, we're gonna be dropping a bunch of new videos over there real soon. Okay, like I said, that's also part of the investment in moving into the new house, so I can have better working conditions to make better videos. Because I'm not gonna stop making content on the Mexico channel. We're not stopping here. Okay, I live here. You guys enjoy the channel. You guys enjoy everything I do here, and we're gonna keep on chugging. Okay, we're gonna keep on doing stuff on this channel. That's not gonna stop. But with that said, you guys already know I have other interests. Okay, whether it's my other YouTube channel, which is where I just like to talk to you guys about random things. Today on the channel we're gonna be talking about the American dream is dead. All right, so for anyone that's interested in that, I know I don't want to trigger everybody. This is why I like to keep all the channels separate. But anywho's, when I do live streams on Thursdays on this channel, after I'm done, I go on live on the other channel. We do live streams over there talking about all kinds of stuff. So please go check that out if you're interested as well. So anyways, we got that going, and I figured, you know what? I want to get the cooking channel going. I'm again born out. The thing that I used to do for a living, before I started doing YouTube, I was a cook. I was a chef. Okay, that was what I did for a living. And yeah, what I mean, that's kind of like what I want to do on YouTube. And I'm thinking, hey, we can marry everything together where, again, I can show you the city, maybe, you know, do some stuff in the city and then, you know, just marry everything together. I don't want to spoil it yet. You know what I mean? I don't want to ruin it, but we got some fun, amazing things coming up, and we're going to be mixing all the channels together, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing. And I hope you guys are ready for some fun. Yeah, because, you know, at the end of the day, look, guys, you guys already know this is my channel, the channel that you're watching this on right now. Okay, this is it. So on this channel, you guys already know, I have been doing videos for years, and I have basically covered every topic that there is to cover. In fact, I encourage you guys out there in the audience, in case you have not done so already, because I know so many of you guys have so many questions about so many things. Please search my channel first. Search before you ask, you know, anyone, before you pay anyone for anything. Look, check out my channel. Look, for example, you can search. People ask me things like, you know, oh, Jose, you know, you talk all this stuff about blah, 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 and America and the cost and the this and oh, but you know what? What about gay culture? Oh, great. You know, someone actually left that comment the other day. It was funny. Look, I'm just going to type gay. All right. Look, I got all kinds of videos. Look at that. What is gay culture like in Mexico? Can I get Mexican residency through same-sex marriage? What is dating like in Mexico? You know, dating in Mexico versus the USA. Anyways, look, all kinds of videos, okay? You're talking about safety, talking about water. Look, some people are like, hey, gonna drink the water, you know? Any mundane topic you could think of, check it out, okay? You know, when you drink the water, what about smoking cigarettes? You know, what about Montezuma's revenge? Hey, you can even watch this video. It's on my website, you know, top 22 questions, okay? All right? That have been asked, you know, throughout time. But anywho's, guys, look, I got, tons of content on my channel. So, you know, these days, you guys are enjoying my bike rides, you know, my talks. You guys enjoy my live streams here. So, you know, I like to focus on that. No need to beat a dead horse. By the way, he's doing a lot better. How crazy, me and Lambo both injured, huh? You know, he's basically a quadriplegic or something. You know, he's in a wheelchair. By the way, he says thank you for all the love and support. And look at me, and I got attacked by a cat with rabies. By the way, tomorrow I go for my 3rd rabies shot. Hey. Anyways, you want to know more info on that? Bruh. Check out my previous videos and live streams, okay? Anyways, real life with Anthony and Apollo. Anyways, he says, Jose, you're the only one that gives the most important info that is needed for free, as others charge. Hey, no worries. I appreciate you guys. And again, by the way, guys, you know, for a lot of you, there's a lot of info on my website as well. Okay, you guys can just literally just click on, you know, moving to Mexico general information, and you're gonna find the things that you're really gonna need. Like, for example, hey, things about a rental. You know, hey, these are the websites, you know, to find a rental. You know, they can get more of affordable pricing and stuff like that. And I give you tips on the Facebook groups or whatever. How to find a job, questions, you know, banking options. Okay. Everything, okay? Residency, you name it, guys, okay? Jobs. Look, I got a whole list of jobs. You know, for you bums out there, you know, still don't have a job, okay? Look at that, all right? By the way, I was a bum too, okay? Trust me, all right? I came out here. All right? But hey, I'm a bum that made it happen, all right? You know, you can't come out here and not do nothing, all right? You got to come out here and work, all right? Well, long story short, you can make it happen if you really want to. But yeah, I mean, free resource. Look, for a lot of you guys that do have questions that have not been answered or cannot be answered on YouTube for obvious reasons, listen, please, guys, I encourage you guys to, you know, check out my personalized consultations, okay? Just reach out to me, okay? And we can talk one-on-one, all right? And you can ask me any question you want about anything, all right? And we can, you know, try to resolve your problem, or, you know, at least get you going on the right path. And if you're interested in that, again, just go to my website and do all that. Yeah, sorry about this long, extended, what was it, like, what was I doing here? You know, plug on my channel and my stuff. But yeah, guys, look, I just want you to go support my cooking channel. That's all I was trying to say, man. That's all I wanted, man. You know, my cooking channel. But yeah, look, we used to do live cooking demonstrations on the channel. We used to do all kinds of cool stuff. Look, I think you'll like it, guys. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. It's been very rainy and humid and hot out here. The reason I was so late today, I was actually... And the reason we are taking... So yeah, guys. For the, I think you guys will enjoy it. Oh, the music. Oh. Sorry, yeah, those that music. You know, I don't know why on shorts you can play the music, but you cannot play the music. But anyways, yeah, that did the live streams. You know, we did all kinds of fun stuff, man. I think you guys will enjoy it. You know, we're gonna be doing a completely different direction. We're gonna be doing completely different stuff. Check out the videos that I uploaded recently. I just uploaded videos today and yesterday. Again, these are the super oldies, but the goodies. This will give you a hint in the direction that we might be, you know, that we are going. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff, but just check it out, guys. Okay, check it out. Check it out. I think a lot of you guys like cooking and food, and you guys enjoyed the live streams. And we're going to be doing live streams, but again, we're going to be. You'll see. You'll see. All right, just stay tuned for more. Again, okay. So, all right. Back to the walk, guys. My apologies. Okay. So where was I? All right, let's go, guys. So shout out to everybody. By the way, if you guys have any questions, you know, feel free to ask. All right. But yeah, by the way, if you want to know more about what happened to me, my hand, my rabies shot and all that, just check out the last live stream. Check out the last videos that I've uploaded. I go in detail. But anyways, we're just talking about the fact that, you know, at this point, it's laughable to me, you know, when Americans complain about how expensive Mexico is. Listen, guys, look, it's going to get expensive, okay? Why? For many reasons, okay? First of all, the dollar, the US dollar, Canadian dollar, whatever, you know, they're losing strength. Okay. Look, I don't want. It's not even about the exchange rate. Okay. It's just about the fact that, you know, the economy is, you know, not as strong, okay, as you might think it is in other countries. Mexico has a stronger economy. Again, I mean, a daily, you know, economy. You can go to the mall in Mexico, any mall in any part of Mexico, and it's packed with people. Okay, there's tons of consumers. There's tons of people working. There's tons of action going on. We're in the USA. I mean, malls are dead, for crying out loud. You know, you see corporations that are basically closing stores in the USA and they're opening in Mexico. Sears is alive and well here alongside many other corporations and stores and so on and so forth. And so, with that said, you know, as Mexico, look, man, I know a lot of people don't want to believe this, but, you know, like 40 years ago or something like that, you know, like, again, I am 43. All right. So in the 80s, in the late 70s and 80s, listen, guys, I know this is a little hard to believe, but the Mexican peso was basically on par with the Mexican dollar. I mean, with the US dollar. So it was almost like 1-to-1 exchange rate. And a lot of things happened. This is not what this episode about, but a lot of things happened between those 40 years, all right? And this is why we have the exchange rate that we have. Okay? All right? But, okay, as things start to literally, you know, move closer to each other, all right, meaning the US is dropping and Mexico is rising, they're going to meet at the middle, and eventually Mexico is going to keep going and USA is going to keep going in both, you know, the directions that they're going in. And yeah, you're gonna see a giant flip flop. There's gonna be, you know, it's gonna blow your mind. I mean, look, right now, you know, we're in Guadalajara. You see the expensive, you know, how expensive it feels expensive just walking there. Okay, like again, look where we are. Okay, anywhere in the USA that is identical. Let me get my fat face out of the way for anyone. So look, anywhere in the USA that is just exactly the same as this is like 10 times the price. I don't even want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Okay. Again, you can go back to my videos, like I keep mentioning. I lived in Seattle, right in the middle of. Okay. Like in downtown, in front of the Space Needle. Okay, I had like the most expensive things there. All right. Anyways, all I'm saying is that. Man, you go here and like, you know, all these little fancy drinks, all the, you know, fancy kefir, whatever you want to call it, you know, the goat milk, the cows, you know, raw milk, you know, the chocolate, look, all the gentrified foods, you know, the lattes, listen, man. Oh, sorry. What did I do? Oh no, man. Ay. So, bruh. Hey, I gotta fire my producer, man. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. Get out of here. Get out of here. Anyways, hold on. We gotta. We gotta really fire this guy. I can't believe he did that.
You're fired.
Get out of here. Get out of here. All right. Anyway, so as I was saying, I mean, look, everything there. You know, we bought like a bunch of little bottles of kefir. You know, everybody, look, we all got a plate of food. We got like the lattes and the this. We got listen. We left with cookies. We left a bunch of, you know, bro. I spent $25, bro. I was like, bro, come on. What do you mean $25, man? Come on. If I go to McDonald's in the USA and I get like 2 meals, you know, just, you know, I get like a what is it, like a Big Mac meal, and then I get a Happy Meal for Christian. I mean, come on, that's like $25 right there, bro. I mean, come on, you know, give me a break. You know what I mean? It's like, and I got look at this, the most awesome experience, you know. So, anyways, I mean, so and yeah, you know, those things are probably gonna get more expensive. Yeah, things are gonna get a little bit more expensive. But like, for example, we're in Guadalajara, we're whatever. If I already told you what someone was making in a Walmart here, Merida, Yucatan, in the Yucatan, where I am, okay, in this state, okay, the complete opposite side of the country where I'm showing you right now. This is the lowest paid state. The lowest paid state. So in the lowest paid state, people working at Walmart, okay, are making like $750, $800 a month, okay? So if they work in a more gentrified store, okay, or a nicer whatever, they might be paid a little bit more. I don't know, or maybe the same. All I'm saying is that that person in that neighborhood, in this city, in Guadalajara, those people working at that gentrified, you know, coffee shop or whatever, you know, they're getting paid like $1,000 or $1,000 or something a month. You know, for sure. They have to, because everything's just way more expensive there. And so, I mean, you know, there's just so many things like that. And so a lot of people are just not, you know, they're not ready for that conversation. You know, a lot of people that are retirement age, and they, you know, they're coming to Mexico, you know, with a certain income, a certain, you know, fixed income, and they have the old Mexico in their mind. And again, I don't even know what old Mexico, because like I said, 40 years ago, Mexico was just as rich as the USA. Okay. A lot of things happen. Again, you know, oil crisis, many things happen. All right. All right. Okay, don't get me started on that. In fact, you know, those topics I cover more on my other channel. I can't really cover them here too much. Okay, you know, I gotta keep it a little, you know. Okay, but anyways, I cover the dicey, you know, stuff on the other channel. Anyways, long story short, you know, out here, the point is that, you know, there's a lot of money here. There's a lot of old money here. You know, a lot of people think like, oh yeah, that money's from the cartel. Oh really? So the whole country is a cartel? No, they're not. You know, there's a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of businessmen. There's a lot of people, okay, that went to the USA 40 years ago or 30 years ago, okay? And they worked very hard, okay? Made a lot of US dollars, and they sent all that money here, okay? And they built, you know, these amazing homes, these amazing mansions, these amazing retirements for themselves, these amazing lives for themselves, okay? They're probably doing very well in the USA, and imagine how well they're doing here, because they've always kept the connection. So there's a lot of money. There's a lot of money here. Okay, not just a lot of money. Okay, but you know, again, back to what we've talked about before on the show about the income disparity, you know, in this country. You know, yeah, that's a real thing. You know, there's a lot of very poor people. Okay. Mm. Yeah, sorry, I was out in the sun. And yeah, I'm very thirsty. Anywho, so yeah, you know, like I said, you know, there's a lot of poverty in this country, but as the years are going, okay, you know, as we're going into the future here, that there's less and less poverty in Mexico, okay, because more and more people are now entering just normal lower class or middle class, you know, lower middle class, middle class. By the way, thanks to hit the likes. Don't forget to hit the likes there. Sorry, the thing went off on its own. But yeah, long story short, you know what I mean? The more people are rising up in the ranks, okay? As opposed to the USA. In the USA, more and more people are going into poverty each and every day. All right. And so, you know, a lot of people that are moving back to Mexico, okay, are Mexicans. Okay. There are, you know, there's people that are, you know, Mexican born, okay, Mexican born, and they went to the USA. They lived a life in the USA. Now they're moving back. So for the same reasons you guys are moving back. A lot of people that were born in the USA of Mexican parents, and they're moving here. Okay. So there's a lot, and they're bringing a lot of money. And so when you're coming out here, you look, the thing is that what I keep telling people is that, look, what Mexico can promise you is at the very least a dignified retirement. Again, this is assuming, I'm just speaking to the retired folk here, people that are closer to retirement age. It can give you a dignified retirement. It'll give you a nice and comfortable retirement if you live a nice and normal, frugal life, and you'll be okay. But you're not going to be wealthy, unless you are wealthy. If you're wealthy, then you'll be wealthy here. But if you're, only on 1,500 a month, Social Security check, I mean, you're just going to be doing average. And especially if you got to rent, if you can at least buy your home, meaning you sell your home in the USA, you bring that equity or whatever out here, buy a home out here, and you don't got to worry about that because you don't have to worry about property tax out here because it's so little, basically nothing. Since then you're with 1,500 or whatever, you'll be fine. But more and more each and every day, there's more and more young people moving to Mexico. That's just the reality of it. Young people with families, all kinds of people, and then they don't really care about the cost. Look, I'll tell you this: when I was at the doctor, okay, and the doctor was treating me, and we were talking or whatever, because obviously he knew I wasn't from here, from Mexico. And so he's like, "Oh, really? You moved from the U.S. over here? Why? Why are you here? Why are you not in the USA?" And he's like, "Oh, you're probably only here, for the cost of living and yada yada yada." And I go, "Look, I'll be frank with you. When I first moved out here 7 years ago, yeah, that was my reason. I really didn't have a choice. I didn't give him my whole story. I was like, but yeah, that was my reason. But now, even if Mexico becomes just as expensive or close to being just as expensive as the USA, you kidding me? I'm still going to want to live here because of the quality of life. The quality of life in Mexico is just 10 times better. And this is the reality of it. Look, if the USA, quality of life was the same, okay, to Mexico, why would, there's no reason to be here. You know what I mean? Like, it would just be the same. But the real reason I'm here in Mexico is because the quality of life in Mexico is like 100 times better than it is in the USA. I don't even got to tell you guys. You guys already know. Well, some of you guys know. Not everybody knows. But I mean, I get PTSD all the time when I hear about the USA. You know what I mean? Like, people telling me, "Oh, I had to go back to the USA for this, or that," or I watch videos from the USA, whatever it is. Like it's just, I talk to family and friends, and it's like, man, no way, Jose. I don't want to be there. I don't want to live there. I miss, certain things about living at home, but I mean, come on, you've seen how beautiful and amazing Mexico is. What do I miss? What do I miss? When people really ask me, like, what do I miss about the USA? It's like, what do I miss? Like what the pollution, the headaches. I mean, the angry people screaming all the time, everything being so crazy expensive, the constant propaganda, the constant gaslighting, the constant, poisoning of the food and the water supply and the everything. Is like, no thanks. No thanks. I mean, I could just go on and on, but I don't. And out here it's just like, man, it's just fine. You know what I mean? Out here it's just like you can just live whatever life. Yeah, if you're poor, if you're very poor, then yeah, you know what I mean? You're gonna have, not as much access to things as if you are not poor. It's everywhere else on the planet. But out here, it's like even the very poor. I mean, again, we talked about this like last episode and stuff like that, where look, even again, like the very, very poor have access to all the medicine. So look, when I went to go take care of this, I went to the free hospital, simply because, well, this is expensive, and I just don't have the money for that. And we all have free healthcare here, so sure, I had to wait, as opposed to getting attended immediately at the private hospital. But you know what? Hey, it is what it is. In the USA, you're gonna have to pay an arm and a leg for a rabies shot, and on top of that, you're gonna be waiting 5-6 hours to get treated. So it's like, I mean, are you kidding me? But for the most part, I get to have access to healthcare, don't matter what. So, one thing that I noticed, and I keep harping on this, because it was just one thing that clicked on me, and I couldn't even I didn't even realize it, but it was just the fact that when I was at the free hospital, the majority of the people that we saw there were people that, were with kids. And so either they were pregnant or, they just had their kid, or, you know what I mean? Like, meaning the newborn all the way to just, all the stages of kid. And basically it's like, oh, I get it now. This is why Mexicans can have kids. And the USA is like, you can't afford to have a kid. You cannot afford to have a kid. In Mexico, you can definitely afford to have a kid. All you got to worry about is the roof, which you already got anyway, right? And the food. So yeah, you got to, have more food around. Yeah, you got to work a little bit more for the food and the Pampers or whatever it is. But everything that when it comes to medicine, okay, everything when it comes to medicine, meaning that, all, the shots, by the way, I know this is a worry for some people. When I was in the vaccine, getting my rabies shot, I see everything there. They have it was a public hospital, right? So, and I see, hey, what is a vaccine schedule? The recommended vaccine schedule for kids out here? Small. I'll leave it at that, okay? Small. Back like, it's similar to what it was in the 80s for us, okay? I'll leave it there. Okay, not the insanity of what it is for kids in the USA these days, okay? Or in the first world where, anywho's. So, there's so many things. Oh, look, by the way, one thing that I kept forgetting to mention. I know this video's not about this, but it is about this, okay? Because again, it doesn't matter how expensive Mexico is. It's awesome. It's the best. And for anyone complaining it's too expensive, get out of here. We don't just go. Get out of here. For reals. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? Just like what I was talking about in my last episode about entitled Americans or entitled people. Listen, man, look, I'm a chef, okay? A cook. That was my whatever. But I wasn't like the customer's always right kind of cook, all right? Or chef. I was hey, listen, this is what it is. Take it or leave it. Oh, but I'm a vegan. Listen, go get some Indian food. I don't care. Okay? I don't care. This is what we got. This is what we're doing. Take it or leave it. That's what Mexico's like, okay? This is what we got. This is how it is. Take it or leave it, And for many of us, it's amazing. It's amazing. But anyways, that's back to my hand. So what did they do to my hand? Well, part of the healing. Remember, it was like a giant puncture wound. It got super infected. I showed you guys in the previous live stream how bad it was, right? Anyways, what do you think they put in there? Okay, to clean it out. What do you think they put in there? To heal. So on and so forth. They were basically using, just, water, soap, alcohol, oxygen peroxide, and what do you think they put inside the wound for it to heal? Some silver. Yeah, it's like some silver thingamajiggy. I don't know. I think they got it from the Alex Jones website. I don't know. Anyways, just I kid. No, but anyways, it was just like some silver because silver is very what is it, antimicrobial or whatever it is. Anyway, so it's like this, thing made out of like cloth or something like that, and it's just made out of silver, and they just kind of like put it in there, and tequila, correct, mezcal. Anyways, and they throw it with the worm, anyway. So anyways, and they put it in there, and it basically just, yeah, it killed all the infection. It killed everything. So it's like, yeah, it's not like big pharma stuff out here, okay? Yeah, they got it. They got all the big pharma stuff, but no. Again, at the public hospital, they're gonna give you what's gonna work. They don't want you to see you back. If the only time that they want to see you at the public hospital is for your regular checkup, how you doing, maintenance. That's it. They don't want to see you, for other reasons in that sense. And so, like, meaning that if you got a problem, they want to heal you. That is the main purpose of that. Look, it is a government institution. So therefore, again, since it's a government institution, well, then guess what? That costs money. And the government out here does not print money like the USA does, okay? It doesn't have infinite amount of money like the USA. So they got to treat it like a business, meaning, okay, we do not want repeat customers here because they're not paying us. It's all free. So therefore, we got to make sure we cure them and we heal them. All right. So, and look, not just the medicine. Okay. I harp on the medicine a lot because it's something that we don't have access to in the USA. But it's not just the medicine. It's about, again, the freedom. I harp about the freedom a lot. The amazing freedom that you have to do whatever, just about anything. As long as you're not hurting anybody else or what is it like? Breaking any major laws. Doing any major crimes. You can just live your life because in the USA, everything's a crime. Basically, those three guys that were standing there would probably, get a cop. Hey, what are you guys doing there? What are you guys standing there? Can I see your ID? Can I see your whatever? I mean, don't get me started. Anyway, so So it's just many little things, you know. It's like it's just, you know, for me, like the quality of life is unmatched, unsurpassed, and you know, to me, I feel like yeah, sure, you know, if things get more expensive, it's well, you know, then you know, most Mexicans are obviously going to be able to afford it because everything's keeping up with inflation. Because it's not like other countries like Argentina or Venezuela where they're going to have hyperinflation because they're going to have to print into oblivion because they don't have a strong economy. You know, Mexico is not like that at all. Mexico has a robust economy where they manufacture just about everything. They're self-sustainable. They don't need anybody. In fact, Mexico prefers to not do business with the rest of the world. They prefer to be sovereign. They prefer to just do their own thing, but they have to, you know, do business with the rest of the world, and they have to do certain things. But look, long story short, you know, Mexico's not a country that really relies on anybody else, and they definitely don't like people, okay, that come to this country, you know, that are used to relying on the government, are used to relying on, you know, all these other programs of social whatever. So yeah, you know, at the end of the day, you know, the USA is, I mean, sorry, Mexico is just, you know, by far better, you know, no matter what the cost, you know, like, I don't care. You know, yes, things, if you want a new car, if you want a new house, if you want certain things like that, then yeah, you know what I mean? It's going to cost you more money. You know what I mean? It's as simple as that. I mean, I can have a, you know, similar cost of living out here in Mexico as I do in the USA, and also be living a similar life, you know, meaning a very, very nice house, a nice car, you know, all the bells and whistles and yada, yada, yada. But out here, I can basically live with how much I make. So if I make very, very little, it doesn't matter. I can afford this crappy roof, this crappy food, but this crappy environment. Hey, I can afford something. Okay. And as I make more money, well, I can make, you know, hey, I get a better, nicer house. Hey, I got nicer food. I get nicer, you know, things like that. And you can really just move up. You know, you do not get punished for making more money here, as opposed to the USA where you get more punished, you know, for making more money, for all kinds of things. You know what I mean? It's just truth. So, by the way, I am not anti-vaccine. Again, I got multiple vaccines, you know, recently. So I'm just pro common sense, okay? So how's that? And yeah. So yeah, I'm just reading some of the comments here. I'm put a little music in the background, you know, so I can read some comments. I know you guys are chatting about. Oh yeah, let me change this video here too. 1 second. But anyways, guys, yeah, if you guys have any questions or things like that, go right on ahead. Um, okay. So anyways, but shout out to everyone out there. I see some people are yelling. I don't know why they're yelling. Don't yell. Don't get angry. Don't get angry, guys. You know, we don't want angry people in Mexico. Just relax and chill. Anyways, what is somebody? I see some people talking about a VPN. What do people need a VPN for, man? I mean, I watch American sports without a VPN. You know, I don't use a VPN for just. I use a VPN so sparingly. I don't even. You know. Anyways. Yeah, because I don't want to, you know, I don't want to see the U.S. news. I don't want to see the U.S. this. I can still watch sports. I can still watch other stuff. But, you know, you don't need a VPN for any of that stuff. No, you don't need it for American sports. Jose Novello, my lawyer, okay, American lawyer, he has the MLB package. You know, he loves MLB. He's Mexican. You know, he doesn't have an American anything. You know, he's 100% Mexican. He has MLB, you know, package, you know, to watch all the games. When you go to the sports bars, they got the games there. You can, you know, NFL.com, NHL, you can, everything's available here. You know, Disney Plus, whatever the hell, what Netflix, whatever. They have it all here. Now, the reason you might want a VPN, okay, is, for example, is that sometimes certain countries block certain things. Okay, so Mexico blocks certain things. You know, a USA blocks certain things and things like that. Also, you know, you can connect to like the VPN of like France, and you can get like the French Netflix, and you'd be like, oh, you get to see some cool French films if you're into that. I don't know, whatever. But that's really the only reason you would want a VPN. I mean, it's not really a thing you need, you know. But I look, I know a lot of people need it. I know I'm not poo-pooing on it. I'm just saying I don't need it. I know a lot of people that use it all the time, but for me, I'm not. I got enough of a connection with the USA with you guys. All right, I'm good. I'm good. You know, of course I want. You know, if I need to watch certain things, I can watch them even without a VPN. You know, even in Mexico, I can go to Fox News or CNBC or CNN or whatever. In fact, the other day, you know, I was watching on CNN.com the Tim Dillon interview. Oh, you guys got to watch that. Oh, you guys want to laugh? You guys want to laugh? Watch that. Some good stuff. What kind of camera do I use? I use GoPro and I use DaVinci Resolve. I used to use Premiere Pro, but it was just too expensive, man. And then, you know, DaVinci is free and far superior. You know, once I started to get the hang of it and use it, it's far superior. So that's what I use for DaVinci Resolve. I do not have the paid version. I want to get the paid version, you know, but whatever. Maybe in the future. It's like $300-$400. I don't know what it is, but DaVinci Resolve, man. Oh, big fan. Editing software, and same thing with the GoPro. But a lot of people don't like GoPro, man. You know, recently I bought a new GoPro, and I was doing research, you know, like all the other cameras, you know, the action cam and this and that, whatever. And long story short, it's like I ended up just buying the GoPro, you know, even with its faults. It has faults. It's not perfect, okay? It overheats, you know, it has many things. But it's just not, you can't compare, man. I'm sorry, you know what I mean? Like, at least for me, you know what I mean? Plus, you know, I don't know, just for me, from my perspective, I've been making videos for over 10 years now. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me, it's just like, I do not watch CNN, guys. I was just making a joke. Jesus. See, that's the thing. It's like if I say Fox, I watch Fox News, you know, to watch an interview with, oh my God, they fucking people lose their mind. It's like I watch CNN. I purposely said the Tim Dillon interview because Tim Dillon was literally roasting CNN, okay, through the interview. Jeez, man. I hate it. I hate that guy. By the way, that's one pet peeve I have is when people, you know, are like on this. If you're going to look, I understand people got their sides and what they believe in. Keep it to yourself, okay? I don't subscribe to any of that shit, okay? In fact, the only thing I subscribe to, okay? Now you got me all fucking hot and bothered. The only thing I subscribe to is, okay, Cooking with Jose. All right? Jose Unleashed, all right? And then, you know, this channel, Living with Mexico, okay? That's it. That's the only thing I subscribe to, all right? And I suggest that's the only thing you subscribe to as well, all right? So don't subscribe to CNN.com or Fox News or MSNBC or any of that, all right? Just subscribe to those 3 channels. That's all you need, all right? Bruh. Ay. By the way, I'm sorry. I don't mean to pick on you. I love all of you guys, all right? But geez, man, come on. You know what I mean? I got friends, you know, that are on the right side of things. I got friends that are on the left side of things, and we can all be friends, okay? That's it, all right? And then you know where, and they know where I am. I'm right in the middle, all right? And I don't subscribe to any of that stuff, okay? So we just keep all of our opinions to ourselves, all right? And that's it. You know what I mean? And we can get along. Not a big deal, all right? But I'm not about that, okay? If someone tells me, hey, watch this, it's on CNN, it's a funny interview, or it's a blah, 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 I'll watch it. You know, I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm not going to boycott. I mean, they're all horrible. They're all the same, okay? This is why I live in Mexico, okay? So I can just, you know, like, disconnect from all of that stuff. And that's why when I see people like with the VPN, it's like, oh yeah, so they can keep in tune with all the USA stuff. It's like, I mean, why? I mean, look, I understand. I get it. But it's like, I mean, at least for me, it's like, let's say that I want to watch an American thing. It's like, listen, I want to watch Sopranos or something again. I got Netflix or HBO, whatever. I'll watch it. You know what I mean? If I want to watch American stuff, I'll watch it. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. If I need to, but it's like I have to like kind of go out of my way, but I don't like continuously. I don't watch Mexican news either. I'm not on top of that either. I don't care about any of that stuff. You know, I'll watch, you know, a lot of the stuff that I love what I do. So I'm constantly consumed working on videos and working on the channel and doing the things that I do. And then on my super free time, I watch sports stuff. You know, why sports? Because literally it's the one thing okay, that's away from all that. But again, that's not to say, guys, you know this already. It's not to say I am not informed. You guys can go watch my other channel, okay? I'm definitely informed, okay? I watch things, okay, that a lot of you guys might not watch, okay? But yeah, no, yeah, I'm on a different, you know. Oh, you can, Thomas, you can say whatever you want, man. This is a free country. You know, this is a free YouTube channel. You know, you can say whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. All I'm saying is that, you know, you're questioning me on what I watch. It's like, come on, man. Come on. Come on. Come on. You know? Come on. What are we doing? What are we doing here, guys? You know? You know, you're arguing with the guy with the talking horse. Hey, don't blame me, man. I got more brains than... All right. Just... All right, Lambo, keep it down. Keep it down. Anyway, so... It's funny, like, I posted a video, on Tuesday. I posted a video talking about, where do I get my information from? I go to all the fact-checking websites. I make sure to get on my... If it doesn't have at least 15 blue check marks, I don't even read it. Anyways, oh man, what was I saying? Oh, I forgot. Oh man, I lost my train of thought. Ay. Ay. It's like, oh, I love this one. I was like, oh, when I move down there, I would love to meet you in person. I know, a lot of people do. A lot of people want to meet me in person. It's great. How about this? If you bump into me on the street, you know, if I'm filming a video, if I'm just walking, if I'm in the mall, if I'm at YouTube, I'm never at the mall, but if, you know, if I happen to be there, if I'm at Walmart, whatever, yeah, for sure, you can say hi, take a picture. You know, we can, you know, yes, of course, you know, whatever. But yeah, no, it's gotten so, I can't meet fans, bro. You know, unless I bump into you on the street like that, I can't, man. It's too much, man. I don't know. Maybe it's because of the way my personality is on TV here, you know. Anywho's, anyways, what was I saying? Man, I was gonna say something. I forgot what I was saying. But anyways, but yeah, I mean, look, the reason I live out here is just because it's like, man, I really just get to really be disconnected. You know, it's not like I don't know what's going on. Trust me, I know what's going on. But the average person doesn't. I mean, look, again, I know you guys are very smart, very intelligent. I got the smartest audience on YouTube out here, 100%. So this is why I encourage you guys, again, to go check out my other channel, Jose Unleashed. We're gonna go live there in about 30 minutes. No, not 30 minutes. Sorry, about once we're done here, you know, about 30 minutes or so. So, you know, about. Anyways, go check it out. But yeah, you know, over there, I go deeper into, you know, what I think is going on. You know, whether you agree with me or not, it's an entertainment and nothing but entertainment. But, you know, that's the thing. Out here, I get to just live my life and not really worry about all these things that most people are worried about living in the USA constantly. And it's just like out here, I'm just worried about the small things, you know? And I get to really just live my life. I get to, you know, not just live my life, but everybody else, you know, lives their life. And it's just like such an amazing experience. And so, look, the thing is, it's like, I don't think many of you guys out there in the audience, you know, will ever get to experience the way, you know, I get to experience Mexico the way I get to experience, perhaps simply because you don't speak Spanish fluently. And, but I think if you speak Spanish or you speak Spanish fluently, or you get to really interact, you know, with the people on a day-to-day basis and constantly, I mean, oh man, yeah, you'll really get to love Mexico. I mean, you don't have to, you know, I'm not saying you have to know Spanish. But if you know Spanish, or you know some Spanish, or you interact, you try to assimilate, you really try to, oh man, you know, you're really gonna love it out here. And it's funny, man, because it's like so many people, you know, obviously they ask you about the USA, you know, oh, what do you think about, you know, Trump, or what do you think about this, or what do you think about whatever? And it's like, it's so interesting, you know, to just, you know, have those conversations with people, you know, because it's like, you know, the way they see things and the way you see things. And, you know, most Mexicans don't know how lucky they have it, you know, how good they have it here. They really don't. And the only Mexicans that really know how good they have it is the ones that have visited the USA. There are many Mexicans that have visited the USA. There are many Mexicans that watch YouTube videos of people in the USA, or they got family in the USA, whatever. And those Mexicans, not all of them, some want the American lifestyle. There's a lot of Mexicans that hate me, Mexican Americans that hate me, because they're American and they're, they might be, Trump supporters. Again, look, a year ago, Trump supporters loved me. Now they hate me. Again, it just goes back to all the things that I talk about on my other channel. Again, why I live here. I just disconnect. But yeah, for the most part, it's just hilarious, I haven't changed my opinion on jack crap, but yet, funny how things are, right? But anywho's, back to what I was saying. It's just it's interesting, to like live out here, and it's a good thing. But anyways, yeah, back to like the expensiveness of Mexico. Look, Mexico can be as expensive or as affordable as you want it to be. Look, you see there's buses, there's trains, there's all kinds of public transportation. If you choose to ride the bus, this is rush hour, by the way, all right? But if you choose to ride the bus, okay, then for sure, you're going to be able to afford to transport yourself a lot more. But if, you want to like get, what is it? You want to move from point A to point B in a more fashionable way, or a more comfortable way, then you'll probably get an Uber, and those things start costing money. And if you probably don't want an Uber, you say, you know what, I'm too good for an Uber, I'm gonna get a car. Well, then that starts getting expensive. So that's the thing, like, depending on how you want to live, will depend on how expensive it's gonna be. Again, this is why me and Christian have electric bikes. Okay, we ride the bus, we take Ubers, and that's what we do. That's it, because for our lifestyles, that's what we want. Having a car is too expensive. In fact, my truck, I gave it away to Tree. Tree has it now, and him and his son are trying to, they're working on it and getting it back in shape. But yeah, the truck, like, it just became too much of a hassle for me. All right. So look, long story short, like, that's just talking about the car. When it comes to housing, same thing. The reason that we upgraded housing is simply because, me and Christian, we both work from home, and, we need, basically a better work environment. This environment, again, for those of you guys that have been following me long enough, you guys already know, we've had issues with the power, with the water, with all kinds of things here. And it's like, enough is enough, man. So we got to get out of here. And so, with that said, we found a place that is going to have an office for me, an office for her, and we have space, for other things. And we all have a nice bedroom and yada, yada, yada. And all of a sudden, again, we can, be more comfortable, but at the same time, it's like we're investing in our business and what we do. Again, what do I do for a living? I make videos. I don't sell anything. Okay, just my time and some crappy t-shirts. Okay, that's it. That's all I do. Okay, but other than that, I make videos. That's what I do for a living. I make videos, and like there's other ways that I hustle here and there, and yada. You'll see. We're once in a few months. Anyways, but all I'm saying is that, yeah, that's what I do, and I get to live my life, and I get to enjoy my life and do what I want. And Christian's an artist. She's an artist. She paints for a living. Come on. Like, in the USA, both of us need to have regular jobs. We cannot live off of our art. Are you kidding me? We need both have a job, and then with the little energy that we have left, okay, from our jobs, then we could do our art. So that's it. That's why I live here, because I get to do what I want to do. And that's it. And then that's fine. My lifestyle, that's it. I don't need much. And so look, that's the thing. Like, when I bought a new camera, when I bought the bike, when I did all these things, look, all these things are, again, I started making a little bit of money, the last several months, and I didn't know how sustainable that was. I know I'm keeping it up, but the point is that, what did I use that money for? Most poor people, again, it's poor mentality, right? But most poor people, they're going to use that money, splurge on crap, let's go this, let's do that. No, I didn't do that. Like, I know we're going to invest in our future. We're going to invest in our business. We're going to invest in whatever, supplies for what we do, And so, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, so, yeah, man. Yeah, that's the thing, 420, man, like I remember when I used to smoke a lot, that was expensive. I didn't realize how expensive it was. And then when I gave up smoking last year, I realized, wow, I spend a lot of money on that. And then, I'm smoking again now, but now not as much, very little. And it's like, yeah, man, wow, that can be an expense. But it's just like little things like that. I was always, recently, I was, not recently, it's like in, last several years, I was eating a lot of sugar, I was eating a lot of crap. And then I just started to get healthy again. So stopped eating sugar and junk food, and I stopped, and I started working out again. Anyways, long story short, you know how much money I saved on not eating junk food, alone, what I mean? So it's like, a lot of times the vices, that we have, whether it's alcohol, sugar, women, men, whatever, drugs, other paraphernalia, whatever it is, that costs money, man. That costs money. And then a lot of people are like, man, I'm poor. I don't have this. I don't have that. Well, yeah, but you're spending all your money on that. So that's the thing. It's like, there's a lot of things, There's always a lot of things, where a lot of people, when they say, oh, Mexico's expensive, it's like, really? What are you spending your money on? Because the reality is that Mexico is as expensive as you make it out to be. Again, I've said before, some months are not good for me. By the way, shout out to Phil. Thank you, Phil, for the $1 super chat. That helps, which is gracias. Thank you very much. Thank you. But anyways, but some months are not good. Some months I'm only making Walmart salary. I'm only making $750, $800 a month. Okay, think about that. Okay, and I gotta make it work. Again, so there's other income, revenue streams or whatever, like, again, selling a t-shirt, or I sell Zoom meetings, for people that want them, or whatever it is, and so then I get to make ends meet. Okay, and that's the thing, it's not like the end of the world, but yeah, like, not just me, but most Mexicans, that have been working very hard for a very long time, or making more money, getting more fruits out of their labors. And then when you're coming out here, and now you have the same measly amount of money that you always had, whether it's your Social Security or where you're getting paid for working online or whatever it is. Yeah, it's just like, now all of a sudden it's like you come out here and it's like, man, Mexico's getting expensive. Well, again, depends on how you want to live. Okay, so, I've talked about it, multiple times, because I go really deep in details, in the cost of living episodes, which I'm going to be doing another one in the next month or so, going deep into cost of living again. But, long story short, the reality is it's up to you. There's a lot of people that, support a whole family, okay, on $800 a month. Okay, so when Americans come out here and say, it's just like a retired couple, and they say like, oh, that's crazy, you can't live on any less than $2,000 or $3,000 a month. I'm like, really? Because I know Mexicans that can support a whole family, kids and everything, for $800 a month. Now, granted, now I know how, because again, they get the free healthcare for the kids, public school is free, and so on and so forth. There's ways in which they can make it happen, make it work. But yeah, long story short, man, don't get me started on that. I got no sympathy or pity for anyone out there that, look, I get it. If you are on around 1,000, 1,500 or less, 1,500 or less, much less, I got pity on you. I understand. But again, you got to make sure you know what you're coming out here for. Okay. And you got to know what you're going to be in for. Okay. With that small wage, again, as the dollar loses value and as everything gets more expensive here, because it just is. And you got to realize that. But yeah, anyone else is out there, making 1,500 or more dollars a month, which is a lot of you guys, most of you guys, I got no pity, man. Come on, give me a break. You know what I mean? Yeah, again, two parents, let's say two poor Mexican parents working 2 full-time jobs. Okay, they can bring in $1,500 a month. Okay, so again, anything under that, I got pity and sympathy for. But anything over that, I mean, come on, man. You know, like I said, you know, don't get me started. You know, it's like Mexico is expensive. It's just, it is what it is. Look, I know people, like I said, Mexicans, okay, that make, you know, like 60,000 pesos a month, you know, like 3,000, they make like 3,000 a month, 3,000 US dollars a month, and they live worse than me. But why? Because they're using most of that money, the majority of the money that they're making, because they don't know how long they're going to have that job. They can have that job for 10 years or 10 months. But anyways, all that money that they're making, what is that guy doing with that money? They're putting all that money into the house because they bought a house, okay, and they had to put it on their not a mortgage but a loan, you know, mortgage loan, whatever. And so they're basically living in squalor, living in worse conditions than me, okay, and but they have a brand new house, okay, that they're renting out, and they're also paying out, and they're basically doing everything possible. They're working multiple jobs, they're doing everything, and just to pay off the debt. Once they pay off the debt, okay, the house, okay, there's no mortgage, okay, and now the guy can just work a regular job, the wife can just be a housewife, and they get to live a normal life. And they're my age and Christian's age. I mean, you know what I mean? So it's like, look, I get it. You know what I mean? Like a lot of Mexicans, you know, before Mexicans used to get houses for cheap, just like in the USA, you know, they used to be able to inherit homes like in the USA. And a lot of Mexicans still do that. But long story short, yeah, a lot of Mexicans, you know, they have that problem where, oh my God, you know, I can't afford a home like I used to. I got to take out a loan and I got to this and I got to that. But look, even under those conditions, you know, working hard for like 5 or 10 years, you gotta, I mean, you're scot-free. You're good to go. So by everything's paid off by the time you're 50 or earlier. I mean, come on. You know, and if you're really smart about it, you know, again, you got kids, you got the whole thing. I mean, it's all paid for already, you know, all that stuff for the most part. Remember, Mexico pays for that. So look, that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, if you're going to come out to Mexico, you got to get used to the Mexican system and how things work out here in Mexico. Otherwise, you know, it's not going to be easy for you. And you're probably going to be spending a lot more than the typical Mexican and not getting as much back in return. Okay. And again, it's like all these things about life, you know, where a lot of Americans, you know, they're going to get that loan and they're going to, I mean, well, anyways, they're going to be in the same position as my friend here. And they're not going to be living in squalor, you know, to pay off the loan. No, they're like, oh, I'm living in this house that I paid for and I'm buying a new car and I worked very hard for this. And they're basically living paycheck to paycheck just because, hey, I work very hard so that, you know, what is it like, you know, so I need to see it. I need to spend it. I need to have it. I need to whatever. You know, I can't be living in squalor. So that's the thing. It's like the priorities, man. You know, they're twisted. They're not the same, you know? So yeah, it is what it is. So anyways. Yeah, there you go, David Bell. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm glad that you were able to acquire, you know, your smoking. It's not that difficult, you know. Sheesh. You know, for so many people that, you know, try to reach out to me, it's like, no, man, I don't know. You know? Yeah. But anyways, yeah, man. Anyway, but shout out to everyone out there. I really appreciate you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Again, guys, you remember, you know, if you really enjoyed today's show, today's video, and you want to show me some love, you know, please go to my channel, my cooking channel. We're gonna be dropping. By the way, I'm already putting a bunch of new videos up. I uploaded some new videos, oldies but goodies, okay? But I uploaded a bunch of videos yesterday and a bunch of videos today, okay? So you got a bunch of videos to watch. They're short videos, okay, for the most part. But please go check out my cooking channel. Like I said, you know, we're gonna be moving to a new home, new studio, new everything soon. So we're gonna have a bunch of new videos coming up, and you know, I hope you guys, you know, enjoy. If you like cooking, you like hanging out with me, go check out my cooking channel. Go subscribe now. Hit the bell icon. That way you know when I start dropping new stuff. But I'm going to be telling you guys here. And then also, if you guys want to hear more about my opinion, about what I have to say about all kinds of things, you know, please join me, okay, on Jose Unleashed, okay? We're going to go live in about 30 minutes as soon as I'm done here, Okay, and we're gonna go talk about that. No, the video in the background is Guadalajara. Okay, it's in Zapopan, in literally in Seattle. Okay, in the neighborhood of Seattle. So Zapopan, Guadalajara is where the video in today's, where we're walking today. Everywhere that we were walking today in today's live stream was in that area. Zapopan, Guadalajara, Jalisco, Mexico. That's right. Anyways, what was I gonna say? Okay, so join me there. We're going to be talking about the American dream. All right? Yeah. Okay, so we're going to be doing that. And then that's it. You guys already know. I drop videos here every Sunday, every Tuesday. We go live on Thursday. Again, next week, I'm going to try very hard to be on schedule, okay? Because we got to keep everything on schedule. You know how I like to do things here. No days off, we're grinding. I love what I do. I mean, it's like a whole thing. I know, and don't get me started. I know I go off on rants on random things, but anyways, for me, it's like, like, how do I say, like Joe DiMaggio with his hitting streak or whatever, or Tom Brady with his, listen, this is the way I look at things, all right? I'm just competing with myself and I just want to keep it going. If I got to take days off, it's like I got an injury or something, like, even then, I still don't like. It's like I'm challenging myself. I love it, anyways, and I love to take you guys along with the ride throughout the whole thing. Anyways, with that said, next week, okay, might be around, might not be around. I should be around. Stay tuned, and we'll find out together. But anyways, regardless, you already know the deal, guys. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for all the love, all the support. Again, the channel's growing very quickly. We're almost at 32,000 subscribers and growing. And we got a small, tight-knit family here, and I love it. And I appreciate every one of you guys. No matter what I say, me, all right? I like to practice that tough love, okay? I'm all love. I'm all about the love, okay? Even if I'm hitting you over the head with a bat, it's love. Trust me. Trust me. Anyways. But with that said, you already know, guys, all right? If you like this kind of content, don't forget to please like, please subscribe, please share, please hit the bell icon. But more important than anything else, please stay awesome. I love you guys, appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys in 30 minutes on the other channel. All right? Love you guys. Peace out, and can't wait to see you guys there. All right. Bye, guys. And please check out the cooking channel. Please, please. If there's one thing you do, the one thing, if you like this content, whatever, please go subscribe over there. Go watch a few videos, man. Make my day. Make my day. All right. When we're done today and I go check out the stats, I want to see some subscribers and I want to see some viewers. All right. And I want to see some of you guys. All right. Because it tells me who subscribes. Right. So I know you. I know. All right. So I'll see you guys there. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And I'll see you guys in 30 minutes on Unleashed.